Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we are going to go over my feedback on the recent community map test. So last weekend we had access to this half finished map, I want to say. And the first thing I'll note is that this map is absolutely enormous, and this crater is also absolutely enormous. And I quite like this. I quite like having these risky areas where, you know, potentially you could fall in and you will not get out. I think other maps that have areas like that are El Haluf. You know, you can fall off the back of the cliffs into the ocean, and if you do that, you're done. So I quite like this. I quite like this feature. Maybe not with a UFO at the bottom. Maybe not quite as deep, because that's a hefty hole there. But yeah, I like that sort of thing. So we started off at southeastern spawn. We're now at the northwestern spawn, and at the moment I'm just going around the map in a wide view, and we can just get an idea of what's going on here. So the rocky outcrop in the center of the map is the same rocky outcrop that we see in El Alamein. And what I would like to see is, at the moment this has got a sunset vibe to it. I would quite like to see more of a midday. I'd like to see an El Haluf, not El Haluf, well, El Haluf and El Alamein. I'd like to see the lighting to be, I like the more midday look, partly because it makes for better thumbnails and better images of my tanks because the lighting's better. But hey, that's me. That's my take on it. So we're coming all the way around here. We're almost back at our original starting point. And this map is, it looks open. From this point of view, it looks very open. And you know, you could be forgiven for thinking that it looks quite flat. But the undulations in the topography are really quite severe in this map. There is a lot of verticality. And that means that while it's a nice big map, there are big open areas. But you can see it better here. Just because there are big open areas doesn't mean that you've got perfect lines of sight to everything. There is high ground in the center of the map. You can see one cap, but you can't see the other cap. So it's quite nice to be in the position where you have to learn the map, essentially. You have to learn the lines of sight. And there are corridors like you can see here. If you drive into one of these valleys and someone's coming at you from the other end, there's a long distance to go before you can back out around a corner or something. But you've still got the space to be creative with your gameplay. One thing I noticed when playing on this map was I didn't feel confined. I didn't feel trapped. This was Era 2, mostly. Well, no, it was Era 2. And I think this map would work for Era 3 very, very well. I think this kind of map here is what Era 3 desperately needs, right? Really quite desperately needs. Because at the moment we have maps like Mountain Pass that are playing Era 3, and you can get into a situation where teams gone up the back ice road, the enemy teams come across the bridge, they're coming around the south, and you're in a light tank sort of stuck in the middle, and you're thinking, I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck. I can't shoot at anything because they haven't quite arrived yet. I can look at the minimap and I know I'm screwed. And at no point playing on this map did I ever feel, I'm screwed because of the map design. Everything on this map felt very open. There was room to reposition. There were fantastic lines of sight. The rocky outcrop in the middle of the map there, just behind the antenna there, from that position, you can see all the way down to the southeastern spawn, and that distance was great enough that you can put an ATGM out on the cap and not get detected. So having these amazing lines of sight, having these amazing distances means that rather than just relying on the game mechanics to do the work for you, like someone was on my live stream, you can go back and watch it if you want. On the live stream, someone was capping, and I was on that high ground. I couldn't just sit there and go, okay, I'll wait for Sixth Sense to spot them, or the target, the spotting mechanic to do the work for me. No, I had to sit there and I actually had to scan the horizon. I actually had to look for the target. And that to me is the kind of vibe that I want from Era 3 and across all eras, to be honest. That's the whole point of the True Vision system, is to be using your Mark 1 eyeball to do the work. Have you, as the player, have you do the work to spot the enemy, rather than just using a game mechanic to do the work for you, because it's a bit brain dead when you start playing the game like that. So all in all, I think this is a fantastic map. I love the design. I love the verticality of it. I love the undulations and topography. And I think we need more of this. For me, it's quite interesting, because we had a very lengthy conversation at Tankfest about maps and map design, and we are in mid to late August. Tankfest was only about 2 months ago, and already they've pushed out a map that is, I don't actually know how big this map is, but I guess it's a kilometer or greater square. It's a fantastic map. This is exactly what the game needs, and this is exactly what Era 3 needs. If I were to criticize this, I would say that Wargaming releasing this map is fantastic, but it is also a bit of a, you end up, well, for me anyway, I felt like, when I went back to the live game, because I went from playing this, having a great time, boom, lines of sight, distances, space, plenty of changes in the mindset approach to the game. It's like it opened a new dimension of gameplay. It's like, oh, this is fantastic. You go back to the live game and you get Mountain Pass and you're like, oh. And that in itself is a good thing and a bad thing, because while the live game now feels a bit, at least we now know, hey, Wargaming, they've got this. We've got this coming. And I don't know how much work went into this map. I don't know how many man hours are involved in getting a map to this state. But if it's not too much, I would like to see more maps of this size and possibly bigger every month, every 6 weeks. That would be absolutely fantastic, because that, in my opinion, will save the game. And I can't see it hurting. I really cannot see it hurting. So there you go. Couple of panoramics here. One thing I haven't mentioned is I mentioned the massive UFO crater in the, what corner is that in? That's in the southwest corner of the map, I believe. One thing I haven't mentioned is that there is I don't know if this is a crater as well, or if this is meant to be a beach off into an expanse of ocean, but we do have this corner of water. And because the map is so big, I didn't really use the corner of the water, and I didn't really go near the big crater where the UFO is either. If we're going to have features like that, maybe they could be more central, more in play. I don't know. That's my thought. But on the whole, I really, really like this. I really like this map. I would like the lighting to change a little bit. But on the whole, this sort of thing is exactly what we're after. This is exactly what the game needs. And thumbs up to Wargaming for pushing this one through as quickly as they did after Tankfest, after the conversations that we had there. So there you go. It's a thumbs up from me. I like it very, very much. Only got a couple more clips to go through here, so this is a showcase of the map, so I'll just hang around for a bit longer because there's more to show off, isn't there? We had this here. Wait, no. No, there is one thing I'll add. You've got these you've got these sort of these ravines where you've got rocks doing this. It would be nice if they were placed in such a way that meant you could actually jump over, because a couple of times I thought, oh, I'm going to try and jump that. But the approach to this sort of jump area was too steep, and I just lost speed and crashed. So that would be a nice change. But there you go, guys. That is all I've got for this map feedback video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave it a like, if not a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.